What's up, everyone? One moment, if you're on Facebook, loading some things up here because why not? Got to get things loaded and running and all of that good stuff when you're a one-man show. At this point, it's important to make sure that you have all your T's dotted and your I's crossed because that's how things work in my world. You dot your T's and cross your I's. Because everybody else does it the other way. And that's boring. And like you should know by now, if you're not having fun, then why bother? You can be serious and have fun at the same time. Just FYI. I'm very good at that. So, welcome. Travis Alofka here, Human Upgrade Project. This is going to be episode number 10. Officially, as it's written, episode number 10, but it's going to be episode 11 technically. So, before we get into that, like always, now that we have the technical details taken care of, let's jump into Random Squared. Today's Random Squared is brought to you by the letter P. For fun. Think about that one for a minute. It's kind of like fat. Anyways, today's bizarre national holidays. I don't think some of these are really that bizarre, honestly. I just think that they're kind of weird. Maybe when I get to a really bizarre one that I think is bizarre, I will call it bizarre. Let's just call these the weird national holidays for now. And tomorrow, May 23rd, is National Taffy Day. So if you like taffy, score for you. Winning. Hashtag winning. And it's Penny Day. I didn't look that up, so I don't know what that means really, but I have an aunt that's named Penny. So I'm going to have to give her a call or shoot her a text and let her know that tomorrow is her day. So if your name is Penny, even better for you. You can have some taffy and celebrate your own day at the same time. So with the random squared out of the way, I think that'll be like the first 3 minutes. First 3 to 5 minutes of every episode is going to be random squared. So if you really don't care to learn about odd national holidays and some of the factoids that I'll be throwing in there just to make you that much smarter and that much better of a human being, then just always just fast forward about 3 minutes in at least, and that's where we're going to go. That's where you'll start. That's where the real magic begins. Anyways, tonight's episode number 10/11. Quick review of all of the sleep hacks that I've talked about up to this point. If you've caught in a random episode previously, you may not have known that so far I've been focusing on sleep as one of the upgrades. Because also, as you know, if you've been following along and paying attention, the Human Upgrade Project is nothing more than a bunch of smaller sub-upgrade projects. That's how I like to think about it. You chunk it down into sub-upgrade projects because upgrading the human mind, body, spirit, whole thing, it can be a little overwhelming. So the easiest way to fix that, and the easiest way to fix anything that you want to learn or do or approach in life, is to chunk it down into manageable bite-sized pieces. Just like the old saying goes, how do you eat an elephant? One, I wouldn't eat an elephant. But if you were going to eat an elephant, how would you do it? One bite at a time. Yay. It's a good saying. It's kind of lame, but it's a good saying because it puts into context what is actually true. So, quick review of all of my sleep hacks that I've been working on and playing with. I have a lot more of these that I've played with over the years. And so these are just some that I've been playing with recently. Again, and some new ones. Oh, and I forgot to add one to this list. Maybe I'll talk about that one at the end. So stay tuned till the end or you're going to miss it because I'm going to reveal the big sleep hack. No, really, it's actually really cool. It's a little weird, but I'm trying it anyways because why not? Why not? That's the philosophy that we all should follow. So let me make a quick note of this because if I don't, I may just gloss over it at the end. There we go. So double bonus at the end, something that I just started trying a few days ago that you probably will think I'm insane for if you don't already. So jump in. Number one, this one is obvious, and this one is across the board, applies to every area of your life. But sometimes we forget about some of these simple things when it comes to just sleeping. And that's consistency. Consistency, right? People that go to the gym consistently are usually in better shape than people that don't. People that go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time consistently usually feel better in general than those who don't. And sometimes, yes, that's out of your control if you're a shift worker or something like that, but you have to figure something out along the way. And as you follow along and learn more about what I'm doing in all of this, you'll start to see how that is possible. It may not be your most ideal situation in the entire world as far as how you have to implement certain things, but you will learn to adapt and upgrade. So, number one, be consistent, including weekends, because that's where everybody falls off, right? Same thing with exercise or nutrition or anything else. The holidays roll around or a weekend rolls around. I'm going to go have fun and relax and do whatever I do and stay up all night. And if you have problems sleeping and you go out and screw up your sleep schedule on the weekend, then quit complaining about sleeping because it's your own fault. Hard truth, just being real with you. I do that with myself because I do stupid things all the time. But I'm honest enough with myself to be able to say, dude, you're being an idiot. And you've been being an idiot. It goes on. It's not like a one-time thing sometimes. Sometimes it goes on for like a week or two. And I have to stop and have a little talk with myself. Yeah. Number two. What's up, Martin? I don't know if you're still there or not, because I never know if people come and go, but it says joined. So welcome to the show. Number two, nighttime rituals. And I'm not talking about sacrificing a chicken or a naked virgin or something in a volcano. No. I'm just talking about doing the same thing every night that you do, or having a similar set of a protocol to follow in the evening before you go to bed, i.e. a ritual. For example, also i.e. or e.g., set an alarm at night for when you want to start preparing to go to bed. You have an alarm for the morning, most likely. Majority of people do. We'll get into that in other episodes, but if you have to have an alarm to wake up, you're not getting enough sleep. Anyways, have an alarm that goes off at night so you know, oh, it's time to start my nightly ritual of going to bed. Set it for, a lot of people recommend doing it at like 3 hours before you go to bed. I personally don't do that. Maybe one day I will. I set mine an hour before. That works for me. Test it out. If you think you can't do that, set it for 30 minutes before. What I do, after my alarm goes off or my timer, I have other things that I use, not specifically like an alarm. I have stuff on my computer that happens. You can actually get apps and things that turn your you can set your computer to turn off if you really need to. So, as far as my nighttime ritual goes, I don't have a set exact format that I follow every single night, which is a little odd because that's how I work. I usually I eat the same thing every day. I do the same thing a lot. I like to be spontaneous, but I also am very methodical about a lot of things that I do. I have a short list, though, of things that I will run through. I'll read, I'll do dishes, I'll cook food, I will stretch, and I've started hanging upside down on my inversion table because I read, I'll have to find the study on that talked about how that actually relaxes you a little bit. I actually enjoy that. I hang on my inversion table for just a couple minutes right before bed after I do my stretching or whatever else I do. And for example, tonight, what I'll be going through, I need to cook some food. I mean, I love eating and I actually like cooking, but it's a pain in the butt and it takes a lot of time and I find it to be very unproductive. However, I could sit and piss and moan about it and complain, or I could state the fact that I don't like doing it and find a solution like we talked about last night. And the solution I found is doing it before bed, because cooking, I can turn off all of my electronics, I can turn everything off, I can cook, it smells good, it's nice and relaxing, and then by the time I'm done, the house smells good. I have food for the next day and the next 5 or 6 days, and I can go right to bed. There's a thought. Or do your dishes. I like doing my dishes too. I don't have a dishwasher, but if you have a dishwasher, then just put some dishes in the sink and wash them by hand. Get back to the nature of doing things manually if you need to. Number 3, I'm going to speed this up. Actually, this is 3A because 3 is really 2 parts. It's very, very similar. 3A and 3B. If you can't fall asleep when you go to bed, stop trying to fall asleep. Is one. Stop trying to turn off your brain is the other. And by stop trying to turn off your brain, I mean I am the king of my brain does not shut off. That's part of the reason I like going to bed so late, because at that point I am tired and I go to bed. I go to sleep. If you can't shut your brain off, then what I've tried a couple times and it works pretty good for me. I don't have to use it very often. So somebody let me know how well this works if you can't turn your brain off. Remember a memory that you had from your childhood. That's the best place to go. Or a memory that you just love to relive. And remember every little detail of that memory from beginning to end. Because if it's that good of a memory, it's going to make you feel good. It'll take your mind off of whatever else you're thinking of. And after that, you should be able to fall asleep. Try it. See what happens. You don't know. If that doesn't work for some weird reason, though, and you just can't stop thinking about the thing that you didn't finish, get up and finish it. You can lay there for an hour or whatever and not do the thing you were thinking about. I've done this for years, and it's like not laying there. It only took a short amount of time after laying in bed for an hour or 2 hours to realize that laying there is stupid and unproductive. I can get up and do some things, and then I will get tired eventually, and I'll go to bed. It's just like a dog. I've seen people that are like, so Fido won't eat his food. There must be something, unless the dog is sick, put the food out. When they get hungry, they'll eat it. That's not rocket science, right? So if you're lying in bed and you can't not stop thinking about the thing you have to complete, get up and complete it, then go back to bed. The other thing too is, this is a good note that I made right here. If you're lying in bed miserable thinking about lying in bed being miserable and not being able to go to sleep because you're lying in bed miserable and not being able to sleep, all you're doing is training your brain and your mind and your body to associate your bed with the best place to go to be miserable and not be able to sleep, because you can't stop thinking about wanting to be able to sleep because you need to get up in the morning and you need to feel rested. It's like Pavlov's dog. A lot of dog analogies tonight for some weird reason. I didn't plan that, but you're just training yourself over and over and over again to make bed a miserable place where nothing happens. And if you're single like me, then really nothing happens. I don't even have a bed, so that makes it even more difficult. Anyways, moving along. Number 4, get some sunlight. You know that big, warm, orange, yellow, fiery ball in the sky? You've probably seen it. It comes up every day. It shows up. Unless you live like on the North Slope, up in far North Alaska. I was up there in the oil field, just FYI. In the wintertime in the oil field on the North Slope where I was at, the sun literally never came up. It would get daylight from about 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. and then it would get dark again, pitch black dark, like you've never experienced in your entire life dark. On the flip side of that, though, in the summer, it was really cool because the sun never went down. It would go down, and then like the horizon, it would go down, and then whoop. It was like, I'm gonna set, no, psych. And it'd come back up. So, unless you have some weird circumstance like that, get outside. Check out that big, bright, fiery ball of hydrogen, I think it's hydrogen, in the sky. I should look that up. I might be completely wrong on that. Because the sunlight does wonderful things for your skin and your body and your eyes and everything else. That's another thing. Don't wear sunglasses. So go out first thing in the morning, get at least 15 minutes of sunlight, go for a walk. Don't wear sunglasses until afternoon, because that blocks, you wear sunglasses, it blocks the sun, the photoreceptors in your eyes that create extra vitamin D and all the other things that it does, and resets your circadian rhythm that tells your body when it's time to go to sleep and when it's not. And if you're wearing sunglasses all the time, which I am guilty of, I used to do it all the time, then you're not resetting your circadian rhythm properly. So go outside, get some exercise, and what is that? I'm getting texts. I forgot to mute my stuff here. I have too many things going on. Go outside, get some exercise, and get some sunlight, because you never know. One day the sun might not be there. And then what are you going to do? Okay, it'll probably be there. If it's not, then sleep is the least you have to the least you have to worry about. Okay. So I combined, that was 3A, B, and that was number 4 also. Number 5, Piet, Cinco. That's Russian and Spanish, just FYI. I can't remember what it was in Mongolian. Nikhoir, Gorov, Durov. Anyways, number 5. Oh, I combined 5 in there too. Look at me. I'm just smashing all these together because I'm not looking at my notes, which is probably good. Number 5 is go outside. Go outside. If you can't go outside in the morning, at least go outside sometime during the day. Go for a walk after lunch. That's always good. Eat a little food, go for a little walk. Eat a little food, go for a little walk, make a little love, go out tonight. That's a song, I think, something like that. Number 6. Back on track here. Number 6. Awareness. How aware are you of what makes you sleep well and what makes you sleep not so well? And are you paying attention to that? That's the question. The $1 million question is, are you paying attention to yourself? In school, teachers and everybody else always says, pay attention to your teachers. Nobody ever says, pay attention to yourself. Wonder why people are so clueless about how their mind and body work, because nobody ever teaches them to pay attention to themselves. And I'm not talking about the hippie version of pay attention to yourself. I kind of am, because I'm a closet hippie. But just pay attention in general. And be aware. And what I'm getting at with that is, when you start paying attention and you're aware of what you're doing, you'll start paying attention more and being even more aware of what you're doing. And then what you start doing, once you're aware of the doings that are happening, is you start keeping a holy crap, I slept great last night journal. I'm going to be putting that in with the, for those of you who don't know and haven't heard me talk about this yet, I have a guide that I'm putting together for like the ultimate sleep hacks, every note and everything that I've read and found online and in books and everything else. And along with that, I'm going to have this journal. It's not anything fancy. I mean, you can make one yourself, but I will have specific questions in there that when you wake up in the morning and you are like, holy crap, I slept great last night, you should think the first thing that comes to your head should be, where's my journal? I need to write some things down about what I did yesterday, throughout the day, and before bed last night. Because apparently I did something really well, and if I write it down and document it, I can duplicate that and replicate that and create a framework for the rest of my other nights that will be coming, whether I want them to or not. And that works really well. I've been doing this for long enough now that I just know certain things to stay away from, or if I don't stay away from them, I pretty much I have a little talk with myself and I say, self, you're going to feel like crap in the morning after you eat this or do this thing. Sometimes self says, I don't care, I want it anyways. We come to a little agreement that tomorrow's going to be a crappy morning, and that's just the way it's going to be. But until you get to that point, keep a holy crap, I slept great last night journal. Number 7. I probably should point out in here at some point within this that do not, unless you're just completely screwed up like me, don't drink coffee after, like, I think people say 2 p.m. at the latest, but like noon. Coffee has a half-life, caffeine has a half-life of 6 to 8 hours in your system. So if you drink a big cup of coffee at 2 p.m., 6 hours later is 8 p.m., 8 hours later is 10 p.m. I think that was the half-life. I'll have to see. So basically what that's saying is, if you have 100, let's just say 100 milligrams of caffeine, 6 hours later, you're still going to have 50 milligrams of caffeine in your system. So do some simple math next time you have a cup of coffee to figure out 6 hours later how much caffeine you'll still have in your system. If you need to, use your little phone. There's a calculator on there. Number 7, sleep apps. So I'm not a big fan. No, let me rephrase that. I am a big fan of technology. I'm not a big fan of people's reliance on technology to do things that they have not figured out how to do themselves before relying on the aforementioned technology. Right? People have apps that tell them to do X and Y and Z and all of these things. If you took that app away from them, they would probably not know what to do with themselves. If you figure out a few key things that are very simple, like just paying attention to yourself and being aware, if you figure those out before you actually start using apps, when you start using the apps, it will be 1,000 times more powerful than before you started using the apps. And people are like, well, it's professional athlete, this uses that app, and this professional person does this, and they use a sleep app, and they use the Halo neuroscience thing. Actually, I'm going to try that out, tell you, and I'll explain what that is in another episode. And they use this app and that app. Well, let's put things in perspective here. They spend every waking moment being a professional at what they do, and they're very in tune with being able to pay attention and be aware of their mind and body at all times. So adding an app to that is putting it on, it's like amping it up 1,000%. Adding an app to a scenario where you're not at a certain level that you could be on your own is only going to amplify your results 10, maybe 100 times, which is still amazing, right? But wouldn't you rather have 1,000 times benefit from that app? So, short version of that is, going back to the awareness thing, get to know yourself first, have a little conversation, understand how you work before you start throwing a bunch of technology on top of it and thinking that that's just going to cure everything. So the first app I've ever tried for sleep or anything, I'll get into this other stuff, but the first app I've ever tried for sleep, it's called Sleep Cycle. I'll put it in the comments. sleepcycle.com. And there's another one that they make called Life Cycle, and they kind of go together. The Sleep Cycle one tells you about your sleep. The Life Cycle one tells you about the things that you do throughout the day, and you get to categorize what you're doing throughout your day, and it syncs with the Sleep Cycle app at the same time, but you keep track of work and travel and all these other different things. One thing to point out, though, about sleep apps, whether you use one or not, this one's kind of interesting. I'll get into what I like and what I don't like about it here in a second. The one thing to point out is, I don't remember the doctor's name. So I was listening to a podcast, and it was all on sleep, obviously. And they were talking about sleep studies that were being done at sleep institutes where they have, controlled environments and all the wires and the bells and the whistles and everything else. And they showed that there are no sleep apps available yet, at least at the time of that recording, which wasn't very long ago, which was this year. Most sleep apps are only about 60% accurate at determining deep quality sleep. So if you're basing, and that's what another thing about apps, right? Nothing's going to tell you more about yourself at this point in our technology than yourself, because only you know you as well as you know you. So remember that. I don't know how this thing works. I don't put it on my bed. I don't do anything. The one thing too to remember is, I'll get into that in other episodes about turning off airplane mode and all that. I found a sleep app, and it requires you to have your phone on. And I was like, I don't want my phone on and connected to the internet while I'm sleeping with it right by my head. The Sleep Cycle one, you can put it in airplane mode, and you don't have to have it on. So that's nice. Let me see here. I might have said number 7 twice. But there's 2 apps in number 7. So that could be why. I do have things listed out here, but as I've been going through it, I've kind of been smashing it all together. So the fact that I can count at all, right there I'm just considering that a win. I've made it to 7. And being a power lifter and doing powerlifting, making it to 7 is really, really good. Because counting past 5, man, that's like a workout in itself. Yeah. So with that said, wow, this has gone a little bit longer than I anticipated. If you heard me in the beginning, I should have mentioned this a couple times as we went, but if you're still here, Lucky you, because the one bonus thing that I'm going to tell you that I'm trying, and it's based on a study that was done. What was the title of it? It was like, is the way you're sleeping killing you? Something like that. Very sensationalized, right? It's the best way to market stuff. You make it sensational and scary or whatever. But what they studied and what they investigated in this paper was sleeping in an angle, like literally taking your bed and propping up the head of the bed, like underneath your bed, using blocks to prop up the side with your head on it, basically 10 to 30 degrees. So they're saying, you can start at 10 degrees and then work up to 30 degrees. And the reason they say to do that, one of the reasons they talk about doing that is when you sleep, your brain goes through a process of cleaning out all. That's how you build memories and stuff, right? There's scientific terms and all that. I'm not going to get into that right now, but it basically cleans your brain cleans itself out while you're sleeping. That's why we need sleep. Forms new memories, short-term, long-term, all of that. Flushes out all the garbage, and when you wake up, you're clean, you get to start again. By sleeping at an angle, supposedly it helps that process be more efficient. I will keep you updated on that. It's been a little weird, but I do a little weird and a lot of weird all the time. Yes, Vana. Okay, here. Thank you for saying that. Yes, this is a great point about sleep apps. So I actually have not slept well. I've only maybe slept well in I think 2 weeks now. About 2 weeks that I've been using this app. One, I don't use an alarm. I just wake up 93.7% of the time. I wake up 5.5 to 6 hours after I go to sleep, no matter when I go to sleep. Unless I do a sleep deprivation experiment or unless I've been drinking or something like that, right? With this app, you set an alarm, but it gives you a half an hour window, and based on your history of using the app, it wakes you up within that half an hour window. That's fine. But anytime I set an alarm, if I do need to set an alarm to catch a plane or fly somewhere, do something, I almost always wake up before the alarm goes off. It doesn't matter if it's 2 hours of sleep or 5 hours of sleep or whatever. So when I set this, it's causing me to wake up sooner than I normally would have, if that makes sense, because just how long I've been doing this, I usually can just wake up. If I see the time that it's set for, my brain goes, okay, well, I'll just get up before then. Great. And some of the times, though, I don't, and it wakes me up. So I'm not sleeping the full amount that I need to sleep like normal, and I have this thing there that's in my head, basically, like, oh, I have this app now that's going to tell me when to wake up, and then it's going to show me my sleep cycles and stuff, and like, am I getting enough deep sleep? And then I started thinking about all these things that I never thought about before that I cared about, but it didn't make a difference for me, if that makes sense. Like, I didn't need to know how much deep sleep I'm getting. I mean, I'm fascinated by it, but I really didn't need to see this waveform and all this stuff to know that when I wake up in the morning, unless I'm doing some weird test like this, most of the time when I wake up in the morning, I feel great because I slept till I needed to get up and I let my body do its thing. And I have my nightly routine and I get sunlight and I have exercise and rituals and all of that. So it took me almost 2 weeks to figure this part out. What I'm going to do, instead of not using the app, because it's kind of interesting. I'm fascinated by the technology and everything. So what I'm going to do as a test is set the alarm time like 2 hours later than when I normally wake up. So then I'm not expecting myself to be woken up by an alarm. And when I wake up, I'm hoping, I don't know if this is how this app works, I'm hoping that when I wake up and I'm like, cool, ready to go, I can just open the app up and stop it, and it'll still record everything normally. But that's where you have to be creative and be aware of what's going on, because otherwise, up until this point, like literally until this morning or yesterday, I was like, I'm not going to use this anymore. This is just stupid. But now I have another solution because I thought of a way to stop thinking about the problem and started thinking about a solution. Ooh, yes, Vaughn, if you have an adjustable bed, try that. Try 10-degree angle and see what you think of that, just to start with, if it'll let you do angles. There was something else in that where they talked about in some cultures and some tribes and things like that sleep in hammocks in like jungles and wherever else. Their feet and their head are elevated, so their upper body is at like a 30-degree angle, and their feet are up also at a certain angle, and that also is supposed to be another potentially beneficial way to sleep. Right now, I'm just testing the head thing. I just have a bunch of crap that I picked up I'll have to get into this later too. I don't have a bed, but I picked up the end and set it on this thing, and now it's not 30 degrees, it's probably 15 or 20. I'm afraid if I get it too steep, I'll have to figure it out. I'll get a little app. I'm sure there's an app for my phone that I can put on there, and it'll tell me the angle, and I'll see exactly what that is. Wow, 37 minutes. I should have broken this up a little bit, but that's what happens when you get to talking. With that said, it's like 10:30, 22:35. I think I'm going to go to the sauna tonight. I think I'm going to go hit the gym, do the sauna. Any questions for the like 4 people that are on here? Let me see what else. Good. I don't remember what part I was at when you said that makes sense, Vana, but thank you. Because sometimes I wonder if I make sense to myself. So as long as one person understands what I'm saying, or you can play this back again and then you'll be even smarter. Promise. Scout's honor. And if you are still here, anybody still here listening, or if you've made it this far, if you have any apps, or if you've heard of any crazy things that people talk about trying to sleep better, let me know. I'll try it. I mean, like I said, I don't have like any terrible sleep problems or anything like that, but maybe I can create one and then I can fix it. So hopefully I don't, because the last couple of weeks I haven't been too much fun and just going through the things I've been going through. I have not had my normal, regular, awesome sleep like usual. But now I know. And when I write in my holy crap, I slept great last night journal, I can make note of the things that I did that worked. So I'm going to call it there. And in the future, I will try to keep these at around 20 minutes like I was all of the other episodes until last night, when last night ran long. I didn't run long, it just was what it was. And until tomorrow night, if you like this, one, please like it. Please share. Head over to YouTube. I should put a link in there too. Head over to YouTube, subscribe. Send me any ideas that you have if you want to hear any topics on anything to do with upgrading or enhancing your mind or body in any way, shape, or form. As long as it doesn't involve illegal drugs or things that will make me test positive in a WADA Olympic caliber drug test, which I have to get subjected to sometimes when I compete in powerlifting, because we use the same the same guidelines, the same testing. So it's a pain in the butt because I can't buy supplements at the supplement store until I go research the ingredients. But I'm rambling now. If you like this, please like, please share. Keep coming back. I'm doing this Monday through Thursday for sure. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are optional right now. And as I always say, have an amazing day because it's better than the alternative.